So, welcome to this Herbal Apothecary Masterclass. So, this masterclass, we're basically going over herbs and spices that can support you on the sacred feminine fast journey. So, this journey is a whole well-being sort of educational journey in a sense. It's not just about the intermittent fasting, it's also how to align all your mind, your body, and your spirit. And in this class, I'm going to introduce you to the herbal apothecary that can really support you from this point on, and share this information with other people, because the more we can educate others, we're actually just putting herbs out into the world. And this was our natural medicine. So I just turn off my heater. Yeah, and this was our natural medicine that we used for thousands of years. So anyway, let's get into it. It's going to share my screen. Here we go. Excellent. So this is just a disclaimer to say that, always seek professional advice before having any herbal teas or herbal medicines. Herbal teas, I feel, are quite gentle though, but definitely look in if you are taking warfarin. That's really important. That's the main one that we have to look into, and any immune compromising drugs that you will be on as well. So just consult your health professional about your well-being needs there. So really, the Sacred Feminine Fast Herbal Apothecary is about harnessing the ancient magic of herbs for this modern time. And you definitely can integrate herbs. I personally grow some herbs as well, like wormwood, and I've got peppermint and valerian and other ones like that. I have put them into pots, and I do utilize those kind of on a daily basis. So it's really easy to integrate them into your life. And of course, dried herbs as well, super, super easy to put into your life. So ancient herbal medicine recognizes really that the plant carries the nutrients, but also it carries this energy frequency, this intelligence that aligns our body and really changes our energy field, because everything is about energy. And what we consume basically changes our energy field. It either raises our energy field or lowers it. And what herbs do, if our energy field is imbalanced, if we've got a virus, or otherwise if we're having hot flushes due to like liver congestion, it goes in there and it just has this intelligence to know where it needs to target and what it needs to do to bring that energy field into balance. And and this is basically what herbs do. So, each herb holds a unique vibration that interacts with the body's own energy field, like I said, gently guiding it back into balance. So I feel herbal teas especially are super gentle. Also, if you go over to Ocean Gypsy, I do the homeobotanical herbal tinctures, and this combines homeopathy, which is energy medicine, with herbs as well. So it takes sort of more of the energy of the herbs, and also there are herbal extracts in there as well. So it combines the two, and I find these are really super powerful. I love them because they're more sort of gentle on the system than doing pure herbal tinctures that are really concentrated. For some people, that's just too much. Whereas with homeobotanicals, they really work on a gentle level, but oh my gosh, on such a powerful level as well, because they really change their energy field. And that's really the basis of it. I mean, it's even in the name, dis-ease. Dis-ease is an unease in the body. So really, they're really great things. So first of all, going to go on to the nervous system and adrenal support. So this is so important when we go through perimenopause and menopause. The adrenal glands take over the production of progesterone. So we really want to support the body to come into balance. We need to support the adrenal glands to lower cortisol. That's why it's important also to look at a diet for that. So really reducing your sugar consumption, that raises our cortisol level, getting off coffee, for example. But we can use herbs to help support the body, the adrenal glands, and other elements of our body to really lower those cortisol levels, therefore support the nervous system. So holy basil, so Tulsi tea, also known as holy basil, this is a powerhouse it's an adaptogen. So it adapts that body with stress. Very good for adrenal support, cortisol, anxiety, stress, blood sugar balance, really good for that. And also excellent for mental clarity. And in some ways, this is because when we're stressed, we just can't think. All the blood rushes to the outer extremities to run from the line. It goes from the brain, so our brain can't function. So Tulsi tea is excellent for reducing the body's stress. You can combine it, if you don't like the taste of it, you can combine it with peppermint tea. I personally like Tulsi tea myself, but if you're not too keen on the taste, you can definitely put it with peppermint tea. I suggest always to go in slow with herbal medicine, see how your body reacts. So 1 teaspoon really of dried herbs per cup. And I would start off with 1 cup a day and then go up to 2 cups a day and then go up to 3 cups a day. The only thing, of course, we don't have issues with this being our age group, but if you're going to tell people about Tulsi, just caution around pregnancy. And also it may lower your blood sugar levels. Just be aware of that because it really supports the heart. And also with cortisol, that raises our blood pressure. So if someone is super stressed, they often have high blood pressure because they're running from the lion and they need to pump nutrients in to run and also pump the toxins from that reactions out of the body. So it raises our blood pressure. So by taking Tulsi tea, if you are on blood pressure medications, as you come less stressed, it lowers your blood pressure down. So just be aware of that. And you can get blood pressure monitors just from the chemist, actually. The electric ones are super easy if you do have an issue with that. But yeah, Tulsi is amazing. So lemon balm, or otherwise it's called Melissa. So this is actually like super easy to grow. I actually have it in my garden. They do suggest not putting it in the garden. You can put it into a pot. And I love the taste of lemon balm. And you could put this with your Tulsi tea as well. So lemon balm is such an all-rounder of a herb. And I really suggest that you grow it. Otherwise, you can get it. I'm going to say where you can get herbs later on in this little masterclass. But lemon balm is amazing for the nervous system. So if you're not keen on the Tulsi, then go to lemon balm. So it is very good for anxiety, very good for stress, really good for sleep support, because especially if you're waking up in the night. And if you do wake up and you find you do get up, then have some beautiful lemon balm tea, really delicious. I like it after dinner, actually. And lemon balm and peppermint, of course, go really well together. I do love peppermint tea, so that's why I put peppermint with everything. But it's very good for hormonal mood swings, so it really regulates our mood. And it is excellent for digestive support, so bloating and also nervous digestion, which really stems from that nervous system that heightens cortisol. It's good in a sense for bloating. It is lemon balm, so that lemony taste supports the body to pump out bile into our system, so really increases digestive function. So I just use the fresh leaves, actually. Otherwise, if you do have it dried, you can just use them dried. And otherwise, you can create a tincture, but this is not in this lesson on how to do that. So I usually just use 1 teaspoon of dried leaves. I'm just a bit random on my fresh leaf stuff. So probably like 7 leaves or so. I just go to taste really. Steep it in hot water. You never want to have 100-degree water. go down to about 80 degrees so you don't burn the leaf, especially if it's fresh lemongrass. So around 80 degrees. So just stop the jug boiling just before it kind of boils. Otherwise, just wait 5 minutes after the jug's boiled and do your tea. That's the proper way. But if you're in a hurry, quite often I just use hot water. Anyway, yeah, I feel lemon balm is super gentle. So 1 to 3 cups daily. Yeah, you can use it in the day or the evening. Again, I said very nice in the evening after dinner for lemon balm because it is going to support you in that sleep. Contraindications is that sedative medications, if you're taking sleeping medications, because it does support sleep, it's mildly sedative. Use caution with your thyroid medication if you are on that, because it can influence that. But it is really generally very safe. And again, because it can lower your blood pressure. So just be aware of that because it reduces your stress levels, which reduce your blood pressure. And these little pictures in the side is what it looks like. So this is licorice bark. So licorice root, sorry. So licorice root. So this is another powerhouse for the adrenals. Really good if you have low blood pressure. I personally suffer from low blood pressure, so I do drink licorice tea 1 to 2 a day to increase my blood pressure. Sorry, that's just my alarm going off. Sorry about this. That was just to remind me of this call. So yeah, so licorice fruit are really good for burnout if you're wired and tired. It does stabilize blood sugar. So really actually good if you're pre-diabetic is licorice. But the only thing is if you do have high blood pressure, I just suggest doing 1 teaspoon because it can really raise your blood pressure. Unless we're going to talk about the type of licorice root that you can get, which doesn't do this, but this is in the next slide. So 1 teaspoon of dried root per cup. And then when you have, if you're doing root or bark herbs, what you want to do is that you want to simmer it like on the stove top for about 10 minutes. This is 10 to 15 minutes because this is going to basically extract what those therapeutic properties out of it. Because bark is kind of harder, it's not like a leaf that you can easily get those qualities out of because it's sort of soft and permeable, whereas bark is very solid. So if you think of it as that what makes up bark is and makes it strong is the molecules are really packed together. So to extract the wonderful qualities out of it is that you need to boil it for quite a while. So daily amount, I actually drink 2 cups just because I've got low blood pressure, 1 to 2 cups daily. It is important to use it 2 to 4 weeks and then you take a break. I am super random with my herbs. I do pendulum what I need on the day. You can do that, or I just intuitively go to my tea drawer and go, what do I feel like today? So I do go off and on my herbs. And this is important for everything, actually. Even if you're on supplements, it's important not to be on them for a long period of time. Go off and on so your body doesn't adapt. We really learn this in the Sacred Feminine Fast about metabolic flexibility, how important it is to do different things all the time. Because otherwise your body just gets used to it, it adapts to it, and therefore the impacts, say, of the licorice fruit won't be so great if we're on it for a long period of time. And also you see these with modern medicine drugs, actually. They put people on these blood pressure pills. They work initially, the body then gets used to them, and then their blood pressure goes up. The blood pressure pills stop working. The doctors then give them another blood pressure pill. This works for a while, but then it will stop working. The body adapts, and then they give them another one. And some clients come to me and they're literally on 8 different medications. And sometimes, 4 of them will be for blood pressure because this is what happens. So, because your body is very good for adapting to the different environments that's coming to it. So that's why it's important to really change it up. We do this with exercise as well. Changing up your exercise routine is also beneficial. So the contraindications for licorice is that, again, may raise your blood pressure. Can cause fluid retention and potassium imbalance if you use it in a long-term use. So yeah, avoid with hypertension, heart or kidney conditions, may interact with diuretics and cortisoids, and avoid in pregnancy. But the thing is, you can get licorice, and I'm dyslexic, so I'm just going to let you read that word there, is removed. So if you get a DGL licorice, this basically means this element of the licorice is removed, and then therefore this doesn't affect your blood pressure, and it's safer for long-term use. So if you have very high blood pressure, then you might want to consider that if you really want to drink licorice tea. But there, I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of other ways, Tulsi tea and also lemon balm that you could use instead. So the DGL licorice is used for digestive issues, gut lining repair. So licorice is very good for repairing the gut lining, by the way, good for ulcers, reflux, irritation. Super gentle without affecting blood pressure. Yeah, basically, if you want to go down this route, it's not going to be in a tea. It's going to be in capsules or chewable tablets, and you can probably find these at the chemist's warehouse. Yeah, the brands I like are Be Pure. I'm not too sure if they would have licorice though. Yeah, probably maybe. Oh, and also I think it's Nature's Sunshine and also Good Health as well can be good. So yeah, that's that about that really. Rooibos tea, that's how the South Africans pronounce it, or Rooibos, or otherwise also known as red bush. One thing I want to say is health-free teas, I do not trust them at all. Quite often they will have bioidentical flavorings in them, so be aware of this for health reasons. And I know some of their rooiboses aren't that great. So yeah, so rooibos is amazing actually for skin health, and people actually use pure rooibos as like a skin tonic. They use it for their face, very good for acne prone skin, actually, rooibos. Used for the nervous system support. It's a powerhouse in antioxidants, which is so important since we are in menopause. And if any of us are going through the perimenopause, which none of us are, but perimenopause is that we use a lot of antioxidants. We got a lot of oxidative stress, and so therefore we need a lot of antioxidants, and this is an absolute powerhouse. People that love black tea will go to rooibos if they want to have a caffeine-free alternative. That's really, yeah, that's really good. And I feel you could drink a lot of this tea, actually. You could drink from 1 to 5 cups of this tea. Super delicious, very low risk, rare liver enzyme interaction, but I think you'd have to go hardcore to really affect the liver. That would be copious amounts and out of control. So that's just the indications for rooibos tea, very safe. Ashwagandha. So ashwagandha is again known as a powerhouse, especially in Ayurvedic medicine, as a calmative. So good for cortisol regulation, adrenal support again, anxiety, stress, nervous system. I have to say, with you don't want to be all the time on ashwagandha. As I said, I go in different phases with my herbs. But man, if I'm under quite high stress, if I have ashwagandha in the morning, I'm just so much calmer through the day. I like to brew it. It's again as a bark, so you're going to have to brew it for that 10 to 15 minutes with a lid on. You want to keep all those like great oils in there. So put the lid on the pot. You want to brew it for 10 to 15 minutes and then drink it, strain and drink. Yeah, but this is absolutely amazing. Sometimes actually I brew a drink and then I will have it like another one colder in the day. So that's another way that you can do it if you're going to brew up a little bit of a bigger batch. But well, fresh is always best. But anyway, very good for sleep support, improve resilience, just because it's really a powerhouse for reducing stress and anxiety, fatigue associated with chronic stress. You can actually get ashwagandha in a powder capsule, and also I drink it in a tea, which is very nice. It's kind of quite an earthy, strawy type of taste. Um, yeah, and 1 to 2 cups per day. That's there. And just follow the directions if you get capsules of it. So it is thought that ashwagandha is a phytoestrogen. So if you are estrogen dominant, maybe just have 1 cup a day, or otherwise stay away from ashwagandha. It can be sedative because it's very calming. So it's actually really good at night. I have mine in the morning because I just find it really calms me. But everyone's different, you see. It could be a really powerful sedative for some people and then not for others. It can increase thyroid activity, so important if you've got hyperthyroidism. So hyper is when basically your thyroid has caused your metabolism to go really fast. I always think of them hyper as if I'm really hyper, and hypo is hippo. So you're going to put on weight for hypothyroidism. So I think of a hippopotamus. Anyway, avoid when pregnant, of course, and use caution with autoimmune conditions because it might stimulate immune activity. So really good as if you're not on autoimmune, if you haven't got an autoimmune condition, very good for your immune system. And it can interact with anti-anxiety drugs, antidepressants, because it is such a powerhouse. It's basically, in a sense, a natural antidepressant. So nettle is really beautiful. I drink this quite regularly. I don't grow my own nettle because I've just got memories of nettle in England when I was growing up, and then like the spiky nettle. But I do get it already dried organically. This is basically a multivitamin. It replenishes minerals. It's very good for iron. So a lot of women will use it for iron. Really good, actually, after I feel after having a baby to have iron as well, because we can get quite depleted in that. So if you know anyone who's had a baby. And as we get older, so many of us will have an iron deficiency. That's so classic when we get older. And restless legs, actually, just a side note, can be due to an iron deficiency because oxygen's not getting down to the feet. So restless legs is a combination of magnesium and iron deficiency, or it can just be an iron deficiency. So nettle tea is going to be beneficial for that. Really good, actually, if you do train a lot, because of that iron. You want oxygen easily flowing through your body. 1 to 3 cups a day or 1 liter infusion. So you can with teas is that to make the cup of tea and then put it into your drink bottle and kind of have flavored tea. So I also like to do that, especially if you're on the road. If you do a lot of driving and you're on the road, that's also good. I carry a thermos with me. I find also that really good because we do want to have that warm and moist. Remember, warm and moist is what we need going forward in drinks and food. It's mild diuretic. So just be careful if you are on a diuretic medication. Um, may affect blood sugars slightly. I wouldn't worry about that too much. But generally, nettle is super safe. So that's a really good go-to one. Nice again with peppermint. Um, Antihistamine herbs for allergies. So, antihistamines. So, if you suffer from allergies, you might find these herbs really beneficial. They could be seasonal allergies or otherwise food allergies. And these are very good for counteracting histamine. So, here we have antihistamine ones from Strongest. So, nettle is a best overall antihistamine. And that's also why I take nettle as well, because I do suffer from particular allergies. So that's really beneficial. So you could actually take nettle in at the start of spring if you get hay fever, for example. Yeah, that's really powerhouse. So, and because it's so gentle, you can take it daily. Chamomile, so strong, but it's a gentle antihistamine, also a good one. It, of course, chamomile calms the body, another real powerhouse. I haven't really talked about chamomile in here because I feel like a lot of people know about chamomile being very good for stress relief, calming the body, supports gut, skin, and nervous system. We have Tulsi Tea again, that's a antihistamine. We've got lemon balm, which we've already talked about. Again, a mild antihistamine, turmeric, and also ginger. And I'm going to tell you about my chai spice recipe further on. And chai spice is beautiful to have with coconut milk in the winter, I find, which is very nice. So, liver and kidneys, it's so important as we do this feminine fast because we initially, especially, are going to detox our body for the next 2 to 3 months, especially. We need to support the liver, especially as we are in menopause now. We've had a whole lifetime of our liver processing our toxins and everything. It's processed the excess hormones as we went through menopause as well. And the thing about longevity is really to support the liver and also the kidneys and other detoxification pathways, of course, but liver and kidneys are really the powerhouse of it all, I feel. Dandelion root and also dandelion leaf. So dandelion root, of course, we're going to have to simmer that again for the 10 to 15 minutes because it's a root, and we can just do the leaf for 2 to 5 minutes depending on the strength. So dandelion root and dandelion leaf are bitter. Anything bitter, so like rocket, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, even lettuce, all those bitter foods and also the teas, basically they signal to our liver to purge bile. And bile is what gets rid of the toxins out of our liver. So I get up in the morning and I make a dandelion root tea. It's kind of similar to coffee in a loose sense. So I just have it black, a dandelion root, they call it dandelion root coffee, or dandelion coffee, but it's got no coffee in it. It's just because the taste of it. So I brew this first thing in the morning because what that's going to do is that my liver has been working all night processing what it needs to process. So it's processing, if you're on medications, it's processing my supplements, it's processing my food, my hormones, especially from the hours from 11 to 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when the liver is really powering up. So when I wake up in the morning, when I drink that dandelion root or dandelion leaf tea, it purges my liver to detoxify. So that's what it does. And it's good for hormone clearance, so really important, and also very good for fluid balance as well. So really supports those kidneys as well. So yeah, 1 to 2 cups daily. I would suggest you can go up to 3 if you are detoxing, but go in slow. Always go in slow with herbal medicine. Avoid if you've got a bile duct obstruction, because remember it's going to stimulate that bile duct. If you have gallstones, that will elevate that, may affect medication clearance via liver detox pathways. So if you're on medications, just be aware of that. And mild diuretic as well, because it kind of purges the system. But I feel like that might only be initially in a sense, because then it comes into balance. So if you're looking for dandelion in your garden, this is what you should be looking for. So it's kind of like toothed in a sense. So this is the dandelion leaf that you want to see in your garden. So it also has this sort of rosette sort of style. So all these leaves come out in a rosette as well. So that is a really good signal of that. And it doesn't have an upright like leafy stem in a sense. The leaves go outward. Long narrow leaves. They're not hairy, smooth surface, slightly glossy, mid-rib often pale or whitish. You can see that here. And look slightly thick. When broken, the sap will be in this middle piece here. So that's how you can tell dandelion. So milk thistle's an absolute powerhouse. So with milk thistle, or it's also called St. Mary's thistle. So milk thistle is they actually use it for alcoholics who have cirrhosis of the liver. So basically to rebuild the liver. Yeah, absolutely, because it's so powerful to do that. Definitely got to go in slow with milk thistles. If you're on medications, yeah, seek health professional advice because it is such a powerhouse for the liver. Detoxifies the liver, rebuilds the liver, protects the liver, and hormone metabolism because it's so good. And because really, that's what the liver does. Can use in capsules. You can actually get in capsules, tinctures, or teas. 1 teaspoon of crushed seeds and drink 1 to 2 cups per day. But what you want to do is that you use it for 2 to 8 weeks. Always go in slow, just monitor yourself. But also, you want to take a break with any herb. You want to take a break. Otherwise, it's just too much. I personally just use milk thistle, say, do liver cleanses like 3 to 4 times a year. And I don't use it any other times. Or otherwise, if I feel my liver's been impacted, I used to have a lot of issues with my liver when I worked on super yachts and when I was working in the tropics, very high heat all the time for years. So I used to use milk thistle a lot. It can alter liver enzyme activity. So just be aware of that. Can affect metabolism of medications. It basically accelerates it because it's clearing your liver and it's getting your system working. And also use caution with hormone sensitivity conditions just because of the hormone metabolism, because it's so good at bringing that into balance. So if you're on HRT and yeah, just be cautious with milk thistle. Moringa. So this is what moringa looks like. I do use moringa every now and again. I have it in a tea. So moringa is the absolute powerhouse for the kidneys. Very good for blood sugar balance. It's anti-inflammatory, and it's a very good liver support because it's very high in potassium. So often in this modern world, we're really high in sodium because just a little thing about salt is that people use table salt. So that is the salt in the supermarket that has a blue cap. So this is just pure sodium. It should not be sold. It's super toxic and it's not natural sea salt, which holds 72 minerals in it. The thing is that with this salt is just pure sodium and it greatly imbalances your kidneys. And this will be in the fish and chip shops. People use it at home, and because they literally don't know the difference. And in processed foods that they really use it too, because sodium makes you want to eat more because that's pure sodium. But what happens is it imbalances the kidneys having this pure sodium. And because it hasn't got all those 72 minerals in it, which buffers and balances that sodium, it imbalances the kidneys because the kidneys needs potassium and sodium to function. They work on either side to balance your fluids in your body. So that's why moringa is so good. It increases your potassium, therefore supports that kidney balance. It can lower blood pressure because it's basically getting your blood pressure into balance. Avoid high doses in pregnancy. That's important. But I say with herbs, if you're pregnant, always consult a health professional. But we don't have that issue now. But yeah. And also diabetic medications as well, because basically it's going to really support your body in lowering your blood sugar levels. So asparagus, this one is often not really that well known, to be honest. So asparagus is probably the creme de la creme for your kidneys, for UTI, sorry. So really good for that. A lot of herbs really tell us what they do and either what they look like or otherwise what they smell like. So we know when we have asparagus is that our pee will really smell. So that's really telling you what it does. It cleanses like the whole urinary tract. So therefore, it decreases, if you have asparagus regularly, it will decrease the amount of times, if you're susceptible to UTIs, it will decrease the amount you'll get UTIs. So really powerhouse, because quite often when women go through menopause, because the microbiome changes, our pH changes when we go through perimenopause. It comes more into balance later on. But just because of those hormone shifts, is that more women sometimes experience more yeast infections, more UTIs, because basically we become more alkaline. And therefore, they're like, woohoo, we can now grow in this environment. And so women do suffer from UTIs. So having asparagus in your diet can be very beneficial. If you grow asparagus, because asparagus does have a season, I personally grow it. So I find I get asparagus really from November through, it's just finished now. So what's that? To April, I will have fresh asparagus. And then when it shoots, it kind of gets these fronds. And what you can do is that you can use them as a tea. And this really helps support your body over the winter months when asparagus might not be available. You can use tinned asparagus, of course, not so good, but that is an option. But otherwise, you can create your own tea. I haven't been able to find where you could actually buy asparagus fronds from, so you are going to have to grow it and create your own if you want to go down that road. So again, it's detoxifies the body, the liver, and yeah, you can have asparagus in all sorts of ways. So Artemis Liver Cleansing Tea. So Artemis, I saw it in actually Chemist Warehouse the other day. It combines milk thistle, dandelion, fennel. Fennel's really good actually. Yeah, that's really awesome. Fennel's actually really good at purging the liver and really good for weight management. Calendula, very soothing for the digestive tract, calendula, and also peppermint. And yeah, available from the Chemist Warehouse. And that's the one that I use. So heavy metal detox. So when we've had a lifetime, we accumulate heavy metals in the body through foods, through our water. Vaccines are laden, absolutely laden with heavy metals, in particular aluminium. So they're really bad for that. With our water, I'm not too sure about now, but my dad is actually a water engineer. He was the water engineer of Hamilton. And what they used to do there is that to collect the organic matter, the water goes into these big ponds to get clarified. They put an aluminium flock onto the top of the water because the aluminium floats. And then the organic matter then sticks to that aluminium. And then they take the aluminium flock off and then it's cleansed of that organic matter. But of course, there's going to be aluminium left in that water. And we weren't allowed to drink the town water because it had aluminium in it when we were growing up. Yeah. So town water may still have that. I mean, most of us are going to be on rainwater, which is really good. But yeah, just be aware of that as well. Heavy metals can fall from the sky as well. We've got metal roofs. Yeah, they spray stuff into the sky and that's got heavy metals into it. You know, just 2 years ago now, we had the bath and it was a bright blue color when we put bath water into the bath. Oh, maybe that was 4 years ago actually, and it was bright blue. So that was kind of crazy. But anyway, yeah, so heavy metals are everywhere, but we can support the body to purge the heavy metals. So you might want to write this down. I haven't written this in here, but if you want to research heavy metals to do with dementia or Alzheimer's, Dr. Exley, Exley, or it's Professor Exley on YouTube. He studied this for 30 years. And what he found is when you drank water-soluble silica, which is in mineral water, so actually Tongariro water has that, is that you will start purging aluminium and heavy metals after 5 days. And he's done a lot of studies on this. Of course, it's a catch-22 because Tongariro water, even the box water, will have a plastic lining. So you have to work out what is the greater thing. But the thing is, so water-soluble silica, it can't be normal silica, it's got to be water-soluble silica to purge those aluminium out of the body. So, yeah, so that's just a side note of interest. So Chlorella. So Chlorella is basically an algae, and Chlorella is very good at detoxifying the body. You can put Chlorella actually into a smoothie. I mean, it doesn't taste that inspiring, but you can go just in start low because you don't want to sort of detox those heavy metals too quickly, because otherwise the liver can't cope with that because there's too much going through the fat tree, and it'll push it back out into the body, and that's where you get detox symptoms. It's good for liver support, cleansing. It's very nutrient dense, actually, really good for iron, and also B vitamins as well. So very good for the immune system and detoxification pathways. So when you buy it on the packet, it will have what the amounts that you need. Put in water or into a smoothie. If you can tolerate bananas, I know people sometimes do it with banana and some apple juice. Of course, it's more sugary though. But yeah, otherwise I just put a little bit into my smoothie. So because it's so powerful in the detoxification is that it can cause digestive upset. So go in slow. Contains vitamin K, which may interfere with warfarin. Really, if you're on warfarin, in some ways, it's very difficult to have herbals because this really mucks up warfarin. Herbals does. So yeah, unfortunately, that's just one of those things. May stimulate the immune system because it does activate the immune system, which is really good. But if you're on anti-immune drugs, because you don't want your immune system to be accelerated, such as anti-cancer drugs, then you probably don't want to have Chlorella. Yeah, and you just got to check the quality, but I will say where you would get Chlorella from. That's really important because you don't want contamination, of course, the pregnancy one as well. So activated charcoal. So activated charcoal is also a powerhouse. If I travel, I take charcoal. I have charcoal at home, like in my medicine cabinet or whatever herbal apothecary, really, not really medicine, but yeah, so activated charcoal. So this can be from coconut shells or otherwise from wood. So basically what charcoal does, it is binds the toxins in the gut, it binds it together, and then you're going to eliminate it. So it's good for people that have bloating, who have gas, and also very good for food poisoning. So good for food poisoning, or otherwise, if for some reason you feel like you've got a toxin overload, you might have breathed in something and just feel really weird, or of course, consult your health professional if it's really severe. But if you've had some toxic overload, even if it's onto your skin, because that's going to absorb into your body, I would take charcoal. So it also reduces reabsorption of toxins during detox. So people do use it in a detox as well, because our body has toxins during detox. Those toxins are being purged through the liver, and they're kind of escaping from all the fat cells and everything. So you can have more toxins in the system, and basically it reduces the reabsorption also because it binds them as well. You can find it in capsules and tablets and powder that you mix with water. And then just read the side of the packet of whatever they say, because it might change. Make sure there's no fillers in the charcoal as well. Make sure it's pure. And also definitely short-term use only. So sometimes I will just have like one lot of charcoal. You know what I mean? If it's like, if I've eaten something weird, then I might just have one lot of charcoal. Use 1 to 2 times daily, but use for 1 to 3 days only. So definitely just going with 1 day initially. So it does bind medications and supplements. So be aware of that. I'd even be a bit cautious, even take 2 to 3 hours away from medications. That's true. I'd go more 3 hours away from medications, really. And especially, yeah, just look into that, consult your health professional regarding that. If they're sort of medications that you don't want to muck around with. May reduce nutrient absorption, of course, because it binds things together, can cause constipation, avoid in bowel obstruction or any chronic constipation because it's going to bind the stuff together. And then if you've got constipation, that's not good. But generally, if you've got food poisoning, of course, your whole system's going to open up and you'll have more diarrhea situation than constipation. So zeolite, this was really used a lot during the COVID era because it is very good at binding those heavy metals in the gut, really good for that. Supports detoxification and elimination pathways, may assist in reducing toxic load, supports gut and cellular cleansing. Zeolite is actually really amazing. You can have it in the capsule, in powder as well. Follow the guidelines on the packet. And again, we've got all the same kind of precautions that we said before. So yeah, zeolite is really amazing. So perimenopause and menopause supporting herbs. So hibiscus tea, I absolutely love hibiscus tea just because it also tastes super delicious. You can have it cold. You can, if you've got a soda stream, you can fizz it up. If you're going out and you want a wine looking drink, that's really good if you're trying to get off wine, because sometimes when you're getting off alcohol, people will comment, oh, you're not drinking alcohol, because they want you to be in their tribe. So they try and get you to be like them. But hibiscus tea, you could fizz that up if you had a soda stream, put it into a glass, and it looks like red wine. So yeah, I love hibiscus tea. They actually use hibiscus tea a lot. It's kind of like one of their national drinks in Egypt because it cools the body. When you drink it, it's very cooling to the body and brings down that temperature. So that's very good for hot flushes as you're going through perimenopause or menopause. So really good for that. It can reduce blood pressure. It can also balance blood pressure if you've got high blood pressure or low blood pressure. It's powerful antioxidants. I mean, in the color, because it's a bright red color, that really tells us it's powerful antioxidant. Very high in vitamin C out the gate for vitamin C. If you have bleeding gums, right, that's generally a vitamin C deficiency. If you see people with those kind of, a lot of older people have this, but they have those red marks, like these red blotches, that's a vitamin C deficiency it can be. So that's something to be aware of. And hibiscus tea is very high in vitamin C. So really good in the winter months, or like spring and autumn when you get those colds come in, to drink hibiscus tea. It is a little bit astringent, a little bit drying on the mouth, but yeah, super delicious. I drink it as a tea. So it's 1 to 2 teaspoons per cup. And I find 1 teaspoon is enough, and drink up to 3 cups per day. The only thing is it can lower your blood pressure. I mean, I've got low blood pressure, but I still drink it, but I would only have 1 cup per day. Again, I'm off and on with my different herbs. May enhance blood thinning medications. Caution with anticoagulant because it's high in vitamin C, supports blood pressure and all that. Basically, it's bringing your body into balance. And if you're on those medications, then those medications are making you imbalanced in a sense. So yeah. So wild yam. So wild yam I use in a cream. I do have a video on my YouTube channel, which is at Claire Seagrave, which is just my name, on how to use wild yam cream. So it's very good for hormone support. Basically, it supports the body to produce progesterone. As we go through perimenopause and menopause, the adrenal glands take over the production, predominantly over the production of progesterone, and wild yam cream really supports the body with this. I personally found wild yam cream really super amazing. And the brand that I sell on Ocean Gypsy, which is Life, I can't remember the name, Life something. Anyway, go and look at Ocean Gypsy, is I think Life Support or something, can't remember. Anyway, yeah, so basically wild yam is like really, really good for supporting progesterone. I personally found it good because I found as I went through menopause and I was on the other side, is that I have these big dips one day all of a sudden that I'll be very depressed. And I've never been depressed in my life, and I'm usually really upbeat. But I've just find this massive decline in mood. Then I start using wild yam cream again, and within a day, then I'm back up and racing. So I found it personally very good. I put a lot of my clients onto wild yam cream. I've had women in here are like, oh my God, I just want to like kill my husband, because I know that's severe, but they're like at their wits' end with their husbands, and then I see them out and about, and they're like, within 3 days, they're like, oh my God, like you've saved my life, introduce me to wild yam. So I found it amazing. I've also a lot of young women are low in progesterone, and they can't get pregnant. They come and see me. We do other things, of course, take out coffee, reduce cortisol, but also put them onto wild yam cream. And yeah, I've had quite a few babies now because we've supported their body to come into balance. And I feel wild yam cream is one of the main things. So I use a quarter teaspoon of wild yam twice daily. It says half a teaspoon on the packet, but I just fill it morning and night. And I literally just put my finger into the pot, and then you put it on the thin layers of your skin. So I go morning, then the other one night. It does spread quite a long way. And then in a leg, morning, night, you want to thin areas of your skin. I might do chest and belly. I move it around basically. But go and check out my website if you really want to know how to use it. So caution if you've got hormone sensitivity conditions, of course, if you're on HRT. Yeah. And it's not directly a progesterone source. So it's not like what the doctors give you. It supports your body to produce progesterone. It's not progesterone. But I like it that it supports your body to do its thing. Because the thing is, just be aware with HRT, when you give your body like these hormones, whether it's in our younger years, we were on the pill, the body, if it doesn't need to create something, it won't put the energy into creating it. So therefore, with HRT, it can be really good for some women, for sure. It can be an absolute game changer. Absolutely. But the thing is that your body won't create what the body doesn't need to create. It won't put the energy in. So therefore, estrogen is still produced and progesterone is still produced all through menopause for the rest of our life. But if you're on HRT, therefore, all that system comes imbalanced, because basically you're giving it the hormones. So it can therefore not produce its own hormones. You're relying then on HRT. So that's something just to be very aware of. Because I see women who have been on HRT, works well initially, the body adapts to it, gets used to it, and then the HRT stops working. But the thing is now it's adapted to it. If you go off of it, then you're on this whole cycle. And I support women getting off of HRT going naturally, but it can be a bumpy ride. So that's just something to be aware of. So black cohosh. So this has been really known for helping women, especially with hot flushes and night sweats, really known for that. Very good for mood swings, irritability, sleep disturbances. Yeah, this was all the rage. It was really talked about, but I feel like it's gone a little bit underground, and the wild yam cream has really elevated more now than black cohosh. Gosh, I don't know how to say that, but anyway. You can get it in capsules. You can get it in tinctures. I do a homeobotanical tincture for hormones for menopausal women, and that does have it in it. And I love that one because it's so gentle but really effective. Again, liver conditions, pregnancy, breastfeeding, you're probably not going to use it during that time. Yeah, HRT, just be aware of that. And also rare reports of liver irritation. So, I mean, I have to say that because it is in the data, but yeah, who knows? I don't know. Anyway, digestion. Peppermint, we probably all know about peppermint. Peppermint's very good for bloating, good for gas, good for cramping. It's very good if you're trying to reduce your sugar as well, because it balances out your blood sugar levels. And so if you have cravings for sugar, if you get some essential oils and wave it underneath your nose or put the peppermint on, if you have a peppermint tea, it will reduce or stop those sugar cravings. So it's really a powerhouse for that. I like to put peppermint into a roller if you're trying to get off of sugar. So therefore, when you crave that sugar, you can just use the essential oil roller and you'll find that you won't want to eat the sugar. So that's really good. Relieves nausea. Really is very good for supporting bile flow. So very good for detoxification. And this herb is a very good cooling herb. So it cools it. So very good for hot flushes. If you're naturally a cold person, so I'm actually naturally a cold person, but I just like the flavor of peppermint. But but for me, actually, peppermint is probably not beneficial because I want to heat my body up. Peppermint will cool my body down. So if you're a naturally hot person, is that peppermint's very good for you. Of course, that freshness creates mental clarity and also focus as well. Tea, tincture, essential oils. I never say to consume essential oils. I'm kind of pretty anti that just because they're so concentrated and they're such a powerhouse. If you went to a aromatherapist, that might be a different story, but personally, I do not consume essential oils. And also be aware, peppermint essential oils should not be used, I feel, in kids under 8, or otherwise if you've got asthma issues or respiratory issues, because it can cause restriction for, especially for kids, and especially for kids who have asthma. It can really cause restriction in the respiratory system. So just be aware of that. So 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried leaf. I feel the peppermint tea is pretty mild, so won't do that. But if you went and consumed like the essential oils, for example, or using peppermint, you never use peppermint on children, always eucalyptus. Steep in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, if you're making the tea, I'd say 5 minutes really. I don't know why we're at 10 minutes, but anyway. And then you strain it and drink it. So 1 to 3 cups per day. Caution if you've got gallstones. It can also worsen reflux because basically it relaxes the sphincter and it can cause this to relax, and therefore you get the reflux. So if you've got reflux, avoid the peppermint. It can cause that. It can cause that in some people and not in others. So be aware of that. Yeah. Cool. So slippery elm. So slippery elm, basically, it covers the lining of your esophagus and right on down. So it's very soothing. So it's like putting like sort of a nice lining on there. Really good if you have, so some people have a cough all the time. And this can be due to reflux. They might not feel the reflux or the burning coming up, but what happens is that their esophagus gets a bit burnt and then they're coughing all the time because it's irritated. That's a classic. And I find a lot of people, women in perimenopause and menopause, have this constant cough, and that's due to that reflux coming up. It can be due to a lack of magnesium because the valve's not shutting because it's a lack of magnesium. It can be foods that you're eating with reflux. It can be a lack of salt, actually, because salt is so important for increasing your stomach acid. Natural sea salt really supports that. But anyway, back to slippery elm. Soothing, repairing. Irritable bowel, IBS, very good for that. Any irritations in the throat, dry throat, cough. Gently support during detox because it protects that it's kind of got a mucousy thing that it puts there in the digestive tract. So I have a powder of it and I just put it into water and then I'll drink it. You can use capsules, you can use lozenges. So 1 teaspoon into warm water and then you just sip that. It kind of goes into a gel-like state. So yeah, cautions maybe it slows down medications because it is kind of mucousy in a sense. So take 2 hours either side, but generally it's like super safe, really. I always have slippery elm on hand, just in case. spices as medicine. So turmeric, you guys will already know turmeric, very anti-inflammatory, liver support, joint health. Yeah, absolute powerhouse. 1 to 2 teaspoons per day. You can make turmeric salt, put it into natural sea salt, and then put it together and then put it on your foods. That's also super delicious. Of course, black pepper really amplifies turmeric as well. May enhance the blood thinning because it is similar in the body as aspirin. Yeah, so be aware of that. So blood thinning, yeah, medications, and also just high doses. I mean, it's got to be pretty high, but for gallstones and also diabetes, because it does lower blood sugar levels. So diabetic medications might come a bit out. Cinnamon's really good for blood sugar balance, insulin sensitivity. So it's really good for balancing your blood sugar. So incorporating cinnamon, if you're trying to get off sugar, is really, really good. So daily is 1/2 to 1 teaspoon daily. And I'm going to go in of, so this is the cinnamon that you need. And on the next slide, we talk about cinnamon a bit more. Yeah, so it might lower your blood sugar. High dose may affect the liver, mild blood thinning effects, but you'd have to have a hell of a lot of it. So there's like 2 different types of cinnamon that are available. So there's true cinnamon here. So Ceylon cinnamon. So this is lighter, sweeter, more delicate. And this is basically the one that you want to use. It's a more safer compound with it. It's good for daily use, hormone balance, long-term use. Whereas this cinnamon here, Cassia cinnamon, it's got a really strong flavor. It's actually more common. It's more common because it's cheaper, it's darker, but it can stress the liver. But in a sense, you're going to have, quite a bit of it for it to harm the liver. But if you're having a lot of cinnamon over time, is that it could cause a few issues, especially if you're on medication. So just be aware of that. So ginger I use all the time. Ginger's so delicious. I love it. Ginger and lemon in the morning is also good. But remember with lemon is that you want to flush your mouth out because you don't want it to corrode your teeth if you're using it regularly. So ginger, very good for digestion, bloating, reflux. It is a warming herb. So very good for activating that digestive fire. So warm and moist, ginger tea, warm and moist, perfect. Very good if you're like me, a more colder person. Ginger's going to warm you up. Very anti-inflammatory and kind of really underrated, eh? Ginger's so amazing. Again, might enhance blood thinning medications. Gallstones, again, may affect blood pressure, just slightly, not really that much. So that ginger's easy to put in. You guys already know about ginger. This is my chai spice latte that is actually in your Sacred Feminine Fasting cookbook. So you can make that up. Have it with your coconut milk. Yeah, out of the tin. It's, I think, the best option for plant-based milks if you're going to go there. Less sugar, not so many additive. Otherwise, I do love cashew milk. Cashew milk's really delicious. Again, the recipe is in your Sacred Feminine Fasting book. Okay, I just said about grapefruit. So grapefruit is amazing. It's really amazing for heart health and cardiovascular support. That's why if you are on medications like statins, because it works so well, is that it's going to affect statins. So that's really important to be aware of. They do say actually that if you had grapefruit, therefore you wouldn't need statins. So yeah, so just be aware of that because it does amplify or otherwise reduce the effects of medications. But if you think about it, I feel like our grandparents would quite often have grapefruit because they probably intuitively knew that it's very good for heart health, cardiovascular support, helps with cholesterol levels, powerhouse for that. It's bitter, so it's going to stimulate that liver. hydration and circulation. I say juice here, but really, yeah, whole fruit with the fiber because we don't want to go too crazy. So literally it would be like one grapefruit, not a whole glass of grapefruit juice, because that would just be a crazy amount of sugar. So yeah, half to one grapefruit or equivalent of juice per day. Yeah, and be aware that effects can last 24 to 72 hours after consumption. So be aware of that. Yes, such a powerhouse grapefruit is. I just said about mushrooms. So mushrooms, always get your mushrooms from a certified supplier, because that's really important for mushrooms. So here I talk about lion's mane. Lion's mane really looks like a brain. So it's very good for the brain, for memory, nerve regeneration, focus, and mental clarity. Of course, when we go through perimenopause and menopause, our mental clarity can reduce, but I find it does come back after. But perimenopause was a little bit of a bummer for this. So lion's mane is really good for that. Reishi mushrooms calms the nervous system. Love that. Very good for sleep and immune regulation. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to try and say that, but anyway, that word there, which is these guys here, is for energy and stamina. So really good if you're working out and you want that energy. Otherwise, if you're just low in energy, especially when we're going through stress, they can really lower energy. Supports lung function. Love that. Very good if you've got viral infection and it's gone to the lungs, like for example, pneumonia, for example, reduces fatigue. So it's really good. Changa, this is that one here, is high in antioxidants, very good for the immune system, anti-inflammatory. Turkey tail, so this is this one here, good for gut health, microbiome support, so this can reduce through perimenopause and menopause. Immune modulation, just because it's very good at the microbiome support, and also for recovery as well from illnesses. Shitake mushrooms, I mean, they're probably the most available in a sense. Immune support, heart health, cholesterol balance. So yeah, so they're really good. So recommended brands that I love is Nature's Sunshine, and you can get their stuff from there. You can also, get it from the Chemist Warehouse as well. Be Pure, I really trust them. I've actually looked through how much they put into their supplements, and their amounts are really good because the government recommendations are often really, really low. And Be Pure, I feel, are really good in how much of the nutrient they put in to that. For example, vitamin D, they say 1,000 IUs per day, which is just ridiculous because that's hardly nothing. For example, if we go out in the sunshine for half an hour, we get 25,000 IUs. So that's a bit crazy. But vitamin D is the modulator of all cells and really the guru of the vitamins. There, it's amazing. Anyway, out of the Artemis teas, like the liver cleansing tea at Chemist Warehouse, for if you want to go the homeobotanical herbal tinctures, that's via me. And you can always give me a ring if you want me to create a personalized one. On the website, you can fill out a form for personalized ones. Green Trading, yeah, they have a lot of like the powders. They have the mushrooms, same with Medicana Superfoods. I trust these two brands for those. They also have collagen powder actually, which is really good. I feel these are pretty clean, these guys. Claridge's Botanicals. So they are amazing for organic herbs. And oh my God, if you're into herbs, you're going to be so grateful that I gave you this. This is where I get all actually my herbal teas from. So I'm giving you my info. But anyway, this is amazing for herbal teas and just any herbs, any mushrooms that you want. They're all organic. Yes, super, super amazing. So this is going to be how you're going to build your herbal apothecary. To identify your herbs, I've got picture this. It is $59, I think, a year. But basically, you get your phone, you take a picture of the plant, and it'll tell you what that plant is, if it's edible, if it's toxic, and all that sort of stuff. So that is on the App Store if you really want to get into your herb identifying. It's really cool. So Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. And so true. So yeah, that is the end of the presentation. I hope that wasn't too long. I feel it might have been an hour and a half, but you can dip in and out of this as well. I will over time put the stamps in there for each herb so you can go over it. So just write down what herbs resonated with you, create a list, and then you can start your herbal apothecary, either dried or getting the fresh stuff in. I mean, the dried is super convenient. And yeah, and do contact me if you want me to create you a homeobotanical tincture for you or for anyone in your family at all. I do have also the worm and parasite cleanse, which I do 2 to 3 times per year. That is on my website, so you can go and check that one out. And thank you for listening. And check out my YouTube channel at Claire Seagrave. Subscribe if you haven't. That would be super awesome for me. And I will see you in the next masterclass.